WNYC supporters include NYU Skirball presenting Mary Said What She Said, starring French actress Isabelle Huppert, and directed by experimental theater stage director and playwright Robert Wilson, playing from February 27th through March 2nd. More at nyuskirball.org.
On the next Fresh Air, Rich Benjamin, whose maternal grandfather was president of Haiti in 1957, but after 19 days was overthrown by a military coup. We'll talk about getting classified documents showing America's role in the coup, and hear about Benjamin's experiences as a black, gay, Haitian American who came out during the AIDS epidemic. Join us. Weekdays at 2 on WNYC.
On the next All of It, we'll talk about a new documentary exploring the life and work of Art Spiegelman, whose groundbreaking graphic novel Mouse has helped bring Holocaust literature to new, younger audiences. Art Spiegelman joins us, as well as the doc's co-directors. Plus, hear recipes from a new cookbook called We the Pizza, Slangin' Pies and Saving Lives, from a West Philly pizza joint that employs formerly incarcerated folks. I'm Allison Stewart. Join us for All of It, weekdays at noon on WNYC.
It's 6:52. Coming up next hour on Morning Edition, the money that the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, claims to be saving comes at a huge cost to the workers they're firing. Coming up, NPR sits down with a federal employee fired on President's Day. That's in about 15 minutes on WNYC. 21 right now, still cold out there, and here comes the sun. We have a 50-50 chance of afternoon snow showers, still below freezing for a high temperature of 29 today, but feeling, because of that gusting wind, feeling much colder than that, as cold as 10 degrees. Cold again tonight, cold again tomorrow. It's 6:53.
What slashing federal agency budgets could mean for food safety.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by The Economist, devoted to providing independent journalism that makes sense of the news shaping the world. More at economist.com or with The Economist app, newsletters, and podcasts.
From Marketplace, I'm Sabri Benishore, in for David Brancaccio. The Trump administration has fired more than 10,000 employees across the federal workforce, from the Federal Aviation Administration to the National Institutes of Health. It's also cut agency budgets, and some of these cuts have experts worried about what the layoffs and firings will mean for the nation's food safety. This week, the head of the Food and Drug Administration's Food Safety Division resigned, saying, according to multiple reports, that the cuts will damage the FDA's ability to safeguard our food supply. Marketplace's Kimberly Adams has more.
We still don't know the full extent of the layoffs at the FDA, which oversees the safety of most of our food supply. But Darren Detweiler, a food safety expert and consultant teaching at Northeastern University, says they are widespread.
These are technical experts, nutrition experts. Their jobs are extremely important in terms of outbreak response and disease investigation.
Frontline food inspectors and investigators have been laid off or fired, some because they were newer employees on probation.
This is going to result in slower recalls, weaker enforcement, and quite honestly, a rollback of public health protections.
The FDA did not respond to a request for comment by deadline. The USDA, which handles some aspects of food safety nationally, said in a statement that the agency is committed to preserving essential safety positions and will ensure that critical services remain uninterrupted. But many experts and former food safety officials are unconvinced.
I worry about, if there is reduced oversight, that there will be an increase in foodborne outbreaks.
Howard Sklamberg is a partner at the law firm Arnold & Porter and spent years in a variety of positions at the FDA.
Will it occur tomorrow? No. But over the long term, if you reduce the oversight, you reduce the ability to create and implement standards. Does that affect the safety of the food supply? Yes.
In the meantime, the federal government's ability to respond to any crises in our food supply is reduced, says Peter Lurie, president of the Center for Science in the Public Interest, who was previously an associate commissioner at the FDA.
This will put a lot of pressure on state food inspectors, and quite a lot of food inspection does take place at the state level, but it's coordinated and its standards are established by groups that have FDA at the very core.
That's not to say no one is minding the food supply. There are still thousands of people working at the FDA and other food safety agencies. Plus, says Donald Schaffner, a food microbiology professor at Rutgers,
food safety people that work in the food industry, and there are thousands of us, right, are going to keep doing their jobs, right? And so that is not going to change.
Schaffner says there are already independent groups that keep an eye on food safety along with the government. Plus, food companies have every incentive to protect their reputations and avoid any health scares. In Washington, I'm Kimberly Adams for Marketplace.
The justification from the Trump administration for the cuts to budgets in the federal workforce has been to save money and eliminate waste. Now the president says there's talk amongst his advisors of sending some of the money taken away from federal agencies directly to taxpayers. How much might that be? Marketplace's Nova Safo has that.
In the last month, the Elon Musk-run Department of Government Efficiency has, on behalf of the Trump administration, laid off thousands of federal workers, including those tasked with health research, nuclear security, and wildfire response and prevention. The Trump administration has also frozen foreign aid, such as deliveries of food and medicines. Now, President Trump says his advisors are considering returning 20% of the savings back to taxpayers in the form of direct payments. Another 20% would go toward paying down debt. The president didn't say what the White House would do with the rest of the savings, although tax cuts are high on the president's priority list. How much in direct payments taxpayers get depends on the final numbers. The White House has claimed $55 billion in savings so far, while independent analysts have added up about $8.5 billion. At that last number, Bloomberg estimates Americans will get checks worth $11 per taxpayer. I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
All right, let's do the numbers. Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are all down around 2 to 0.3%, with the Dow futures down 96 points. The yield on the 10-year Treasury is at 4.537%. Passengers on that Delta flight that landed in Toronto where the plane flipped upside down, everyone survived. Delta is offering them $30,000 each. Airlines are required by law to offer upfront payments to passengers to cover urgent needs. Delta said yesterday that all but one of the 21 injured passengers have been released from the hospital.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Amazon Business, aiming to help save time by offering smart business buying solutions so there's more time to focus on growing the business and less time doing the admin. More at AmazonBusiness.com.
We are going to get an update on existing home sales tomorrow from the National Association of Realtors. This week, we also got some news about the market for new homes. The contractors that build them are not feeling great about the future. A survey from the National Association of Home Builders found their expectations for future sales fell to the lowest level in more than a year, mainly because of uncertainty about tariffs and how they might dramatically increase the cost of materials used to build homes. Marketplace's Justin Ho has more.
Home builders rely on imported goods to make homes, including lumber, metals, and appliances.
And if their costs go up, that will translate into prices probably being higher than they would otherwise.
Nancy Vandenhouten is lead economist at Oxford Economics. She says higher input costs could discourage new construction, which has been adding much-needed supply to a tight housing market.
Would-be homeowners have, faced a lot of hurdles for several years, and, lack of new supply will, only, make those hurdles higher.
Another factor that could affect supply is the availability of workers. Charlie Doherty, senior economist at Wells Fargo, says if the Trump administration continues to crack down on immigration,
that could be another sort of obstacle for home builders who may wish to expand supply but not be able to have the workers to do so.
As a result, Doherty says home affordability probably won't improve much over the coming year. I'm Justin Ho for Marketplace.
And in New York, I'm Sabri Benishore with the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.